sometimes the way to ask for help is not to say, help me. It's to say, hey, am I missing some documentation about how to do this?
Yes.
Or is there any guide, or is there anything I can look at to tell me how to do this? The person that's going to unblock you is going to be so much happier, especially if like the person is an expert, maybe he's written about it. It will be so much happier that it gives you documentation to say, do this.
Yes.
And like, obviously, like nowadays, if you use like any of the AI tools that might be able to understand your Confluence and stuff, it might point you in the right direction. But like, if you can just say, hey, like this is documentation when we did this the last time, like, yeah, take that, like, that is definitely what you want, right? You don't want to say, hey, help me. You want to say, hey, this is my mental model. This is what I'm trying to, this is what I've tried. How do I get to the point? The person might be like, oh, have you looked at this documentation? I mean, like, you kind of, before you ask for help, also look at documentation.
Yes, I bet.
RTFM.
Yeah.
Read the freaking manual.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, sometimes like the answer is there. Sometimes you will say, hey, I have read this documentation. Like that is very good due diligence. And honestly, sometimes I read documentation and it's not working, and then I ask for help, and the person's like, oh yeah, there's this in that like big document, there's this small thing that maybe you didn't try, and then that does work. That's like straight up like calling out. Like sometimes that does happen, but at least you should like, hey, I looked at the documentation. If you use Slack, like you do a Slack search on Slack, like hey, put a few keywords in there and try to see if like there's history. Slack teams, whatever you use. Try to find like there's history about how that was solved.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think piggybacking off that, it's kind of like you want them, there's a way you can ask for help in the way that he has said, where it's like you're not necessarily directly asking for help, but you're asking for a way to help yourself.
Yeah, guidance.
Right? Yeah, you're kind of like asking for a way to unblock yourself, where they're not giving you the fish, they're teaching you how to fish.
Yeah.
Because the next time you don't have that problem again, they're not going to, like, you kind of know, okay, this is now an extra tool that's in my bag that I can then go and use, right?
Yeah.
I can look in this space that has this new documentation that I never thought was there. So that's one way I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.